What if everything you've been taught about life, everything you've accepted as normal, is the very thing keeping you stuck? Most people never question the rules they live by. They go through the motions. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. It feels like life, but it's really just survival on autopilot. Deep down, there's this quiet voice whispering that something's off, that there's more to you than this. But it gets buried under noise, under fear, under comfort, and eventually it fades. That voice is your truth, and you've been trained to ignore it. Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. The world conditions you to stay small, to doubt yourself, to play it safe. From the time you're young, you're handed invisible rules. Don't stand out. Don't speak up. Don't try too hard. Don't want too much. Fit in. Stay quiet. Be realistic. And somewhere along the way, you started to believe those rules. You started living by them. And now you wonder why you feel stuck, why your life feels heavy, why you're not where you thought you'd be by now. But what if the problem isn't you? What if it's the rule book? The truth is, life doesn't change by chance. It changes by choice. But not just any choice, radical ones. The kind that feel uncomfortable. The kind that feel risky. The kind that break old patterns and demand a new version of you. That's why most people never change. Because comfort is addictive. Because fear whispers louder than dreams. Because the unknown feels like a threat, even when it's the only path to freedom. You were not born to play small. You were not built for mediocrity. You know that. You've always known that. There's a fire in you that never dies, it just gets buried. But the good news, fire doesn't need permission to burn, it just needs oxygen. It needs space. It needs truth. And here's the truth. There are certain laws in life, undeniable, powerful, real. Not the kind written in books, not the ones you learned in school. These laws are deeper, unseen, but they shape everything. Your habits, your mindset, your energy, your results, your future. When you align with them, everything changes. Not instantly, but inevitably. You feel clearer, stronger, focused, alive. These laws are not for the faint-hearted. They demand honesty. They demand action. But they also reward you with something most people never find: freedom. The freedom to stop living someone else's idea of success. The freedom to wake up excited about life. The freedom to walk into a room and not shrink to fit it. The freedom to become who you were always meant to be before the world told you to be someone else. But to get there, you have to be willing to let go of who you've been. You have to be willing to challenge the lies, to step into the discomfort, to say no more. No more wasting time. No more playing small. No more waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the turning point. Right now. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about awakening. Awakening to the truth that there is more inside you. More strength, more clarity, more discipline, more purpose. You felt glimpses of it before in the quiet moments, in the pain, in the longing for more. That's not weakness. That's your soul refusing to settle. You don't need another reason to wait. You need a reason to begin. And here it is. If you ignore that voice inside you long enough, it goes silent. And that silence is the loudest regret you'll ever carry. So if you're tired of spinning in circles, if you're done watching life happen to you instead of because of you, if you're ready to stop chasing quick fixes and start building unshakable change, then lean in, because what's coming next isn't fluff. It isn't theory. It's truth. It's fire. It's the blueprint you were never given. 10 powerful laws that will shift the way you think, live, and lead your life. Not just ideas, but principles that forge resilience, discipline, and unstoppable drive. They won't just change your day. They'll change your life. And by the end of this journey, if you truly absorb these truths and dare to apply even one of them, you will never see yourself or your life the same way again. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they hesitate, they wait, they second guess. And in that hesitation, the moment passes. Opportunities slip away not because they weren't ready, but because they didn't believe they were. And that's how dreams die, not with a bang, but with a whisper. A whisper that says, maybe later, maybe next year, maybe when I'm more prepared. But here's the brutal truth: later becomes never. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll spend your life watching other people live the life you were meant to lead. Change doesn't come when you're ready. It comes when you're fed up. When you decide that staying the same is more painful than taking the risk. When you stop negotiating with fear and start moving in spite of it. That's where real transformation begins, not with a plan, but with a decision. A bold, terrifying, non-negotiable decision that says, this is it. No more waiting. No more excuses. I move now. One decision. That's all it takes to start shifting the course of your life. Not a million steps, not the whole blueprint. Just one clear choice backed by a commitment you don't walk away from. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to believe that staying where you are is no longer an option. Clarity is power. Without it, you're just reacting to life, drifting, following the noise. You confuse being busy with being productive. You feel exhausted but not fulfilled. You move fast but go nowhere. That's what happens when you live without direction. But when you get clear, truly clear, everything changes. You start saying no to distractions. You stop chasing approval. You silence the noise and focus on the signal. That's when momentum kicks in. Not because life got easier, but because you got sharper. You don't need more motivation. You need alignment. You need to stop living someone else's dream and start honoring your own. That's why clarity isn't optional. It's survival. It's your lifeline when everything around you feels uncertain. Because when you know who you are and what you want, you stop getting pulled by every wave. You become the current. And let's be honest, deep down, you already know what you want. Maybe you haven't said it out loud. Maybe you've buried it beneath fear, doubt, and practicality. But it's there. It's always been there. That vision that keeps showing up. That life that feels so close it hurts. That version of you that lives bold, fearless, driven, not perfect, but powerful. That's not fantasy. That's your future waiting on your permission. But you can't build a future if you're still making decisions based on your past. You can't create a new life with the mindset that built the old one. That's why most people never evolve. They try to upgrade their results without upgrading their beliefs. They want change without sacrifice. They want growth without discomfort. But that's not how transformation works. Growth demands that you let go. Let go of who you were. Let go of how you've always done things. Let go of needing to have all the answers. Because sometimes the breakthrough comes after the leap, not before it. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. It will stretch you. It will break patterns you clung to for years. But it will also liberate you. It will awaken parts of you that have been asleep for far too long. You'll discover strength in your struggle, purpose in your pain, fire in your fight. Because once you commit to your growth, the universe stops testing your worth and starts responding to your will. There's a point where you stop searching for motivation and start acting from identity. You stop asking, how do I stay disciplined? And start saying, I am disciplined. You stop saying, I hope it works out, and start declaring, I will make it happen. That shift from hope to ownership, from doubt to certainty, is the moment everything begins to align. This is not about hype. This is about truth. You already have everything inside you to create a life that excites you to wake up every morning. You don't need more talent. You don't need more resources. You need one thing, the decision to stop playing by rules that never served you and start living by laws that awaken you. And when you make that decision not once, but every day, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get relentless. You show up different. You think different. You move different. And people start to feel it. They don't even know what changed, but you do. Because it started with one decision, one act of courage, one refusal to stay stuck. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Because your future isn't waiting, it's watching. And it's asking one simple question, are you ready to claim it? If you are, everything changes. The moment you decide to rise is the moment the old version of you starts to fight back. That's when the doubt creeps in. That's when your mind tells you, you've tried before, you've failed before. Who do you think you are to change now? And that voice, it's loud. It's convincing. It sounds like truth, but it's not. It's fear wearing the mask of logic. It's the echo of past pain pretending to protect you. And if you listen to it, it wins. Not because it's stronger, but because you believed it. You've been lied to. You've been told that fear means stop. That discomfort means danger. That struggle means failure. But fear is just resistance to growth. Discomfort is a signal that you're stepping into something new. And struggle? Struggle is a doorway. It's not a wall. It's not there to stop you. It's there to shape you. Because nothing that matters comes easy. And nothing easy ever lasts. This is where most people turn back. The moment things get heavy, they retreat. They tell themselves the timing isn't right. That maybe they'll try again when life is less chaotic. But there will never be a perfect time. There will always be fear. Always be risk. Always be uncertainty. The only difference between the ones who win and the ones who stay stuck is this: the winners move anyway. They feel the fear and take the step. They fall and get back up. They don't wait to feel ready. They move until they are. That's how power is built. Not in comfort, but in resistance. In the moments where every part of you wants to quit, but you don't. In the moments where nobody claps, nobody sees your work, and nothing seems to be changing, but you keep showing up. That's when the foundation is laid. That's where confidence is forged. Not fake confidence built on hype, but real, unshakable confidence that comes from doing hard things, from keeping promises to yourself, from knowing you faced your own weakness and didn't run. Pain is not the enemy. Avoiding it is, because pain has purpose. It reveals what needs to change. It shows you where you've been settling. It exposes the gap between where you are and who you could be. And if you learn to listen to it instead of hide from it, pain becomes your guide, your fuel, your breakthrough. There's a reason you've been uncomfortable, a reason you felt like there's more. It's not a coincidence. It's a call, a signal from the deepest part of you that refuses to accept a half-lived life. And the longer you ignore that call, the louder the frustration grows. Because your soul was not built for silence. It was built for impact, built for growth, built to move, to stretch, to lead. That's why comfort feels like a cage. Because it is. You weren't meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve. And evolution requires friction, fire, pressure. It breaks down the old so the new can rise. That's why the journey feels heavy. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're becoming stronger. You're being tested. Not to prove something to the world, but to prove it to yourself. To show yourself what you're really made of when the excuses run out and all that's left is discipline and desire. This is where most quit. But this is where you go deeper. Where you stop waiting for life to feel easy and start deciding to become stronger. Where you understand that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream about. You have to build it. You have to fight for it. You have to earn it. And the truth is, it's not the biggest goals that change your life. It's the smallest decisions you keep making when no one's watching. The decision to show up when you're tired, to keep going when progress is slow, to speak life into your vision when doubt tries to kill it. That's where the shift happens. That's where average ends and greatness begins. Because greatness isn't some far-off dream reserved for the lucky. It's a mindset, a decision to stop settling, to stop playing victim, to stop being available to everything that doesn't serve you. When you make that decision, life starts to rearrange. You begin to attract people, ideas, and opportunities that match your new energy, because you're no longer hoping for change. You're embodying it. And it won't be perfect. You'll fall. You'll mess up. But every fall is feedback. Every failure is fuel. Every scar is a reminder that you didn't quit when it got hard. You kept going. You kept rising. And that's what sets you apart. There's a version of you on the other side of this pain, the other side of fear, the other side of discipline, sacrifice, and relentless self-belief. And that version, that's the real you, the powerful you, the unstoppable you. You don't need to find them. You need to become them. So don't turn back now. Don't listen to the fear. Don't let comfort write your story. Stand up. Lock in and remind yourself of who you are. A warrior in the making. A builder of change. A leader of your own life. And your time, your real time, starts now. The greatest shift happens when you finally realize that your life is your responsibility, not your parents, not your pasts, not your circumstances. Yours. And as long as you keep blaming, you stay stuck. Every time you point the finger, you hand over your power. Every excuse is a chain. Every justification is a wall. And the moment you stop looking outward and start looking inward, that's the moment the walls begin to crack. Taking full responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about ownership. It's not about blaming yourself for everything that's happened. It's about claiming the power to decide what happens next. You may not control how you got here, but you absolutely control where you go from here. That shift in mindset separates the ones who talk about change from the ones who become it. It's not easy to take that kind of ownership. It means facing the parts of you that you've avoided, the habits that sabotage you, the thoughts that limit you, the people you've allowed to drain your energy. It means being honest, brutally honest, about the fact that some of your pain was self-inflicted, that you tolerated what broke you, that you stayed in cycles you knew were killing your spirit. But it also means recognizing that you are not powerless, you are not broken, you are not a victim, you are a creator, you are a force. And once you reclaim that truth, everything changes. The world doesn't give you what you ask for. It gives you what you demand of yourself. What you tolerate becomes your reality. And the minute you raise your standards, not just in your goals, but in your discipline, your thoughts, your self-respect, the game shifts. People will feel it. Life will feel it. And it will either rise to meet you or fall away from you. Either way, you win. Because discipline is freedom. Most people run from it because it feels like restriction. But the truth is, discipline is the gatekeeper to everything you want. Without it, dreams die. Not because they weren't possible, but because you weren't consistent. Without discipline, you live based on emotion. And emotion is unpredictable. It lies. It changes with the wind. But when you live by commitment, not feeling by purpose, not pressure, you start to build a foundation that doesn't shake every time life hits. That's what separates the extraordinary from the average. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's consistency in the dark. It's showing up when there's no applause. It's keeping the promise long after the mood in which you made it is faded. And yes, it's hard, but so is regret, so is settling, so is waking up a year from now in the same place, with the same excuses, wondering why nothing changed. You are not here to repeat days. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise. But you can't rise if you keep shrinking every time it gets hard. You can't rise if you keep choosing temporary comfort over lasting fulfillment. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is forever. Everything you say you want, peace, clarity, purpose, strength, it's on the other side of daily choices. Not once in a while effort. Not when it's convenient. Daily. Relentless. Focused. Because repetition is how you rewire your mind. It's how you rebuild your identity. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're voting for the person you want to become. That's how transformation works. One rep at a time. One decision at a time. One day at a time. And you don't need to do it all at once. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving, keep becoming, keep choosing power over excuses. That's what makes you unstoppable, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let it lead. Every day you have a choice. Stay the same or evolve. Keep the story or write a new one. Be a prisoner to your past or the architect of your future. No one can choose it for you. No one can walk your path. But if you're brave enough to own your life completely without blame, without waiting, without needing approval, you'll discover a strength most people never touch. It's not about doing more. It's about becoming more. About building yourself from the inside out. About living in alignment with the person you know you're capable of being. And once you step into that version of you, the one who no longer negotiates with weakness, who no longer apologizes for ambition, who no longer flinches when life gets real, you become magnetic, focused, powerful, unshakable. The world won't hand you your greatness. You have to rise up and claim it. Show life you're serious, not by your words, but by your actions, not by your intentions, but by your discipline. That's how you build a legacy. That's how you build a life that matters. You are not here to exist. You are here to impact, to lead yourself first, so that your life becomes a light for others. Not because you're perfect, but because you were willing to face what most people avoid and rise anyway. The hardest battle you'll ever fight is the one within, not against the world, not against circumstances, against yourself. The old version of you that wants to hold on. The one that's comfortable with mediocrity. The one that's addicted to distractions, excuses, and comfort. It whispers, you've done enough. Take it easy. You're not built for more. And if you don't fight back, that voice wins. It keeps you average. It keeps you playing small. And the tragedy is you begin to believe that's who you really are. But you're not average. You're not here to blend in, coast through life, or merely survive. You're here to expand, to elevate, to rise. You're here to rewrite your limits. But that only happens when you start demanding more of yourself than the world ever could. It begins when you hold yourself to a higher standard, not for anyone else's approval, but because you refuse to dishonor your own potential. Self-respect is the fuel. You can't chase greatness and keep disrespecting yourself. You can't expect transformation while tolerating habits that drain your energy, kill your confidence, and shrink your vision.